Okay, welcome to episode 2 of that WNBA podcast with your host, Jan From. I'd like to join you in hopefully diving deep into the world of the WNBA, and hopefully you'll be able to join me as we celebrate the incredible athletes, thrilling games, and inspiring stories that make women's basketball so special. Whether you're a long-time fan or are new to the sport, hopefully I've got you covered with game analysis, all the latest news from around the league. Get ready to be inspired, informed, and entertained. And let's tip off. Okay, so hopefully, as you know now, this is the second episode of that WNBA podcast. But the first episode, we're really going to get to dive deep into the WNBA. I'm hoping to bring these to you weekly on a Wednesday. I was hoping to get this episode out yesterday, but I didn't quite get that done. And before we go on, I really hope that you like the episode. Maybe leave a comment, subscribe. You can follow me on social media, and you can get this podcast wherever you usually get your podcasts from, including Spotify, Amazon, YouTube. We're now on iHeartRadio, and also hopefully on Apple Podcasts shortly. Now, as you can see, I'm still a bit blurry. I will improve that, so hopefully you can stick with me through that if you're finding me new on your podcast app. And I'd like to get into it now. So today, I want to go through a few topics. So essentially, how I'm going to structure this podcast is every week we're going to maybe go through 3 segments. I'm going to run through some news from the WNBA, any important topics, any important games, and the episode will hopefully go for about half an hour and run weekly. So with no further ado, if you see me looking to the right here, this is where my other screen is and where I've got my statistics and the rest of my information that I might need. So if I look to the right, please do excuse me and stay with me hopefully through the episode. So first of all, has anything interesting happened in the WNBA over the last week? And the answer to that is, of course, 100%. And really the topic dominating the news at the moment is, I think, the Rookie of the Year debate, which most people believe is coming down to the wire between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Now, who you support in this debate, to me, doesn't really matter. You can have your favorite player, you can have your opinions on this debate, and you can support your favorite player. But to me, there is clearly one absolute, definite answer. I know there's still time left to go, but I want to run you through some facts, and I don't think it's really close. So, of course, we know that Caitlin Clark has come into the league. It's brought in a lot of new fans. I wouldn't say I'm a new fan, but it's definitely brought more eyes to the WNBA, as we all know. And Caitlin Clark has really taken the league by storm. She's come in. She's been an outstanding rookie. There are some people that expected her to just average 30 points a game, be the best player in the WNBA straight away. That's just not the case. No rookie in the history of the WNBA or the NBA, in my opinion, has ever been the best player in the world at that point in time. They're never going to be. Their body is not, let's say, league ready. And there's a learning curve, even if you're a star like Caitlin Clark. Something I've seen a lot lately is A, to do with Caitlin Clark's efficiency, and B, to do with Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky being one spot higher in the standings. And that's something I don't agree with at all. And we'll go through that. I've also seen that Angel Reese was obviously Player of the Week, and that's going to have any impact on the discussion because Caitlin Clark hasn't received a Player of the Week award as of yet. And I don't buy into it at all. Caitlin Clark at the moment, okay, and let me get this spot on for you guys. In her short career and in this year, in this period to date, is averaging 16.7 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 7.6 assists on 39.8% from the field. Let's make that 40, and 34.2% from three. Now, would you expect that maybe those percentages are a bit higher? Yes. We'll go through why maybe they aren't as high as people expected them to be. Her free throws at 89%. That is as close to an elite shooter as you're going to be in your first year in the league when it comes to the free throw line. And our field goal efficiency is at 51%. So what I want to go through here is the fact that with all this, Caitlin Clark gets guarded more closely and more intensely than a lot of players in this league. She's shooting the ball at an incredibly high rate, incredibly high amount of times from an incredible distance. A teammate, while I'm not here to, discuss the fact that maybe her teammates aren't quite at the same level, with the exception of maybe the starting five. Of course, we know that the first pick in the draft goes to the team that was the worst the year before. In the WNBA, these things are a little bit different. I'm not going to go into that detail at the moment, but essentially the worst team over the last couple of years. So we know that Caitlin's not going to come in and all of a sudden she's going to take the Indiana Fever to the top of the WNBA standing. It's just not realistic. We'll go into, in the second segment, who is leading the standings and why. But Indiana at the moment are 8th. They're clinching that last playoff spot with Chicago a game above. Chicago pretty much has the same record. They've played 2 less games. They've lost 2 less games. I don't expect that to stay that way. And I expect that the Fever will ultimately beat Chicago to that 7th spot in the playoffs. But even if not, I think the argument that Angel Reese should be winning Rookie of the Year because he's impacting winning at a better rate is just not true. When you compare Clark's statistics to Angel Reese's statistics, Angel is averaging 14 points a game, 11.9 rebounds, let's make that 12, 1.9 assists. Angel Reese is a great rebounder, okay, and that's what she's come into this league to do. She can also score points, that's true. I've seen people kind of discussing her rebounding percentage of her own misses. It's not something I want to go into because I don't think that's fair either. Do I think that her finishing around the rim is the best it can be? No. Do I think it'll improve over the years? Yes. Physically, she's a lot stronger. She's a lot taller, of course. And she's born to play that position. She gets a lot of rebounds. Assist-wise, I'm not expecting her to give a lot of assists. So Caitlin definitely leads in that statistic. But I think that efficiency-wise, Caitlin is averaging a field goal percentage of 39.8, and Angel is roughly 3 points higher at 41.9%. Now, with the amount of work that Angel Reese does under the basket, I don't think that's a high enough difference to, just say, look, Angel is much more efficient from the floor. That's just not the case. We know the shots that Caitlin takes, and we know how efficient she still is. And the one thing I really want to show you or lead you guys to is her field goal efficiency, which is only 42.3% in comparison to Caitlin's 51%. And I think there are multiple factors that lead to the Rookie of the Year debate. I know that not everyone agrees. I know everyone has their own kind of criteria around what a Rookie of the Year should be. But I do think that narrative obviously plays a role. I think that the impact on the game should play a role. And again, while I'm not trying to downplay Angel's impact on the new WNBA season, the comment on the fact that people watch now also because of Angel, I just don't think is true. People are tuning in because of Caitlin, and they will find Angel Reese on the way. But I just don't think it's the same. Angel Reese is a fantastic player, but Caitlin, I think, is just doing a much better job. We've seen clips of her teammates dropping some easy passes here and there. Her stats in terms of assists should be much higher. I think her three-point percentage will only go up as the year goes on and her career goes on. I think she could be a lot more selfish. She's really playing on the flow of the offense from the Indiana Fever. I think they're really starting to learn how to play together, especially with Aliyah Boston. And I think they're really doing a nice job. And I really think that her numbers are understated. I think Caitlin's probably going to win Player of the Month, or at least I think she should in the Eastern Conference. And yeah, I don't think it's particularly close. She was yesterday, depending on when you listen to this, she was 2 blocks away from being the second person in WNBA history to record a 5x5 game. She's continuously getting double-doubles with her points and assist ratios. She's playing incredible basketball. And I think for me, Caitlin Clark is the runaway Rookie of the Year. I really don't think it's close. And look, while I'm new to this, I hope I've kind of summed up my feelings towards that. You can always leave a comment in the comment section, and I can clear up some of my thoughts and maybe a bit more concise of a way as I kind of figure out my way around the podcasting side of things. So with that in mind, we'll leave the Rookie of the Year debate there. I'm sure we'll come back to it in the future. I think it's really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. But again, I think the Indiana Fever will finish seventh, just above the Chicago Sky. There's still a lot of basketball left to go. And I think that ultimately Caitlin Clark has the yet better year in terms of statistics, in terms of team play, in terms of impact. And I think that the WNBA would really miss an opportunity in giving her that award, which I think she's going to win fairly in any regards. But I think if they don't give it to her, I think that's a little bit of a letdown. And I think not only her fans, but UWA fans in general are kind of gonna be feel like they've been a bit hard done by and think that's a little bit ridiculous. So leaving that as it is, moving on to the next section of this podcast. So in this segment now, we are going to talk about the best team in the WNBA and one of my favorite players in the WNBA, and that is Sabrina Ionescu and the Liberty. The New York Liberty this year are absolutely dominating. I can't see how they're not the favorites, and honestly, I can't see how they're not going to win the title this year. Of course, at the moment, they're first in the standings, only by 1 win, but I think it will stay like that for the remainder of the season. I definitely don't think they'll fall anywhere below second or the Connecticut Sun. I think that the Las Vegas Aces, while they're still doing really well, I don't think they're going to catch the Liberty by any means. And I think that with the caliber on that Liberty team, with Sabrina and Brianna and everyone else, that I don't think they're really going to let up. Now, look, in terms of the Liberty and Sabrina's done some incredible things this year already. She's just become the person with the second most threes in New Liberty history, right behind Becky Hammond. She's going to break that, of course. She's still so young. She will probably be the person with the most threes by the end of her career in WNBA history. I think Caitlin Clark might take that mantle eventually. of course, we're all still hoping for a contest with Sabrina and Steph, Caitlin, and hopefully Klay Thompson, who's on my beloved Dallas Mavs now, which I'm very happy about. But she's had some really incredible games so far this year. As we know, her shoe has been very popular, just to take a bit of a sidetrack. But the Sabrina ones for an ultimate hit, I have 2 pairs. I love that shoe, whether it's for casual wearing for basketball. It's the #1 most bought shoes on Nike by You, which is saying a lot. The Sabrina 2 is now already for sale, or has been. It's currently sold out in Nike here in Australia. But I can't wait to get my hand on a pair. Sabrina 2s are already also on the Nike by You website, and she's really done an amazing job. She's the ultimate professional. I did see the other day her getting some backlash around some comments about her playing Caitlin and Indiana, saying that it's their Super Bowl. I don't think she meant any harm by that. I don't think she was really having a go at Indiana or Caitlin. But look, you're allowed to lose games. You're going to lose games, and when you've got an improving Indiana side that really wants to be the best team in the league, it's understandable. I don't think I'm going to read into that too much. But yeah, the Liberty are absolutely flying. I really think that there's not much of a chance that anyone else wins the WNBA this season. I saw that ESPN only had them second in their power rankings, which I completely disagree with. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good year for the New York Liberty. I think they're going to go all the way. And I think if I was a betting man, I'd definitely lean that way at the moment. Not to say there can't be a surprise. Of course, I'm all for a surprise. But I definitely think that they're your favorites heading into the end of the year. Now, leaving the Liberty and Sabrina here, I think we'll move into some other exciting WNBA news. This is probably going to be our longest segment. I've got some things here that I've prepared in terms of news that I wanted to discuss with everyone watching today. That includes games from around the league today. That includes some interesting things that I've shared on my Twitter account at that WNBA podcast. Some more highlights, what's the stats lines from Caitlin and some of the other stars at the moment. So first off, I want to start off here, and that is the fact that something really exciting happened early today, Australia time, and that is we had the announcement of the new 2K cover. Now, I know not everyone plays NBA 2K. I know that a lot of people think it's the same from year to year. I really enjoy buying the new game most years. I really enjoy playing with the new rosters, with the new features. I really enjoy spending my time that way when maybe Dallas, the Wings, or the Mavs aren't playing as much. So I want to start there. And we know that Aja Wilson is on the cover of 2K25 for the WNBA edition. And I think that is absolutely incredible. It's going to do wonders for women's sports. I think the amount of attention the WNBA is already getting in terms of young girls, whether it's young boys, whether it's hopefully bringing new men and women to watch the game and to gain popularity and grow this game. I think that for all of these people to finally see a female athlete on the WNBA cover, something that even if you're not in America, even if you're not close to a WNBA city, if you can't regularly go watch games, maybe you don't have a League Pass subscription, you don't have the availability to watch these games as much as you should. I think it's incredible that we have that visibility of WNBA players on the 2K cover. That way, especially kids can take those games home and say, "Wow, look, who's that mum? Who's that dad? Whoever it might be." And we can educate, we can grow that game, and then they can go, "Look, I love the WNBA. I love this player. I love playing with this player on 2K." I'm sure that many of you out there that have played 2K in the past would have said, "Look, even if my team's the Mavs, let's say I love Dirk Nowitzki on 2K, probably not the most exciting player to play with. You might go play with Michael Jordan on the Legends Edition or Kobe, wherever it may be, and you just found another player that excites you and makes you excited about the game." And I think that's really valuable. Moving on from that into some other news, I mentioned Sabrina. I mentioned Caitlin earlier in the show, but she had an incredible game yesterday with 25 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, 5 steals, and 5 3-pointers. It's speechless, really. It's incredible what that lady is doing, and I'd love to have the chance to talk to her one day. Whether that becomes reality or not, it's really up to you guys, and hopefully, perhaps one day we can have her on the show. More news on Caitlin. There is a lot of Caitlin news, I know. That's kind of what's dominating the media. I just want to speak to it as quickly as I can. Caitlin, as we hopefully most of us know, signed with Wilson Basketballs a short time ago. The first collection dropped, and they are already all out of stock. That happened within a couple of days, if even. Those basketballs range. There were four different basketballs ranging between $25 and $100 US, and they were all gone. Like they weren't even there really. And after Nike had that jersey debacle by not really anticipating the demand they would have for Caitlin Clark jerseys, I think Wilson hopefully produced a good amount of these. I'm not sure on the exact numbers, but I'm glad that they've been popular, and you can see how popular that Caitlin Clark is and how popular the WNBA is becoming. My Caitlin Clark jersey, Indiana Fever jersey, is hopefully in the mail soon. I have pre-ordered like everybody else, hopefully shipping in mid-August, and very excited to get my hands on one. Also, talking about Caitlin, the Fever, and the Liberty, as we did before, their game on Saturday averaged 1.87 million viewers on CBS, and that's over 200% up from the same window last year, which is incredible. I just hope we can sustain that in the long run. I talked about the shoes. Angel Reese, I also mentioned, she's had her 13th consecutive double-double, which is an incredible streak. As I said, elite rebounder, very good scorer under the rim, even if her finishing could use some work, but incredible player, incredible athlete. Also, in terms of Australian news, as you might know, or you might not know if you haven't watched the intro podcast, I am in Australia. I am Australian, born German, but broadcasting from Australia. And we have a number of WNBA players heading to the Olympics. And those include Jade from the Washington Mystics. We've got Beck from the Mercury, and a ton more. Also Alana Smith from the Minnesota Lynx. That's really exciting for us. Obviously, the women's team US women's team is stacked as per usual, and we'd expect them to win the Olympic gold medal again. But I also quite like Germany, and one of my favorite players in Satu Sabali from the Dallas Wings. And at the moment, with her injury leading up to the Olympics, I believe she's going to be able to play. She's been on some podcasts. It seems like she's doing some work there off the court. So if anyone's got any connections talking to Satu one day would be incredible. One of my favorite players in the women's game. Apart from that, do we have any other news? Yes, we do. Cameron Brink is back in the limelight. Obviously, she had that terrible injury, but she's already walking. She's back with her incredible outfits coming into the arena. She's really, I think, born for that LA lifestyle, and also incredible players. Incredible player. I was really sad to see her go down with that injury. I've had some friends here in some women's sports that have had some serious injuries, including an ACL as well, and it's quite devastating. So I hope she can get back on the hardwood as quick as possible. But she's still, lighting up the arena in a different way. Incredible to see that she's not really wearing a brace or anything anymore. I don't believe, which is really positive to see. We also had Paige Bucas or Paige Beckers, I should say, at the Seattle Storm game. Rooting for her friend, and yeah, we really enjoy seeing her there, and I can't wait for her to be the #1 overall pick in next year's draft. Hopefully, going to my beloved Dallas Wings. I think that's almost all the news that I wanted to cover. I don't want to go back too far. This will be a weekly podcast. So another one I've got here, though, is that Angel Reese is in talks with Hershey's, which, look, I hope that's true and not just a headline. I think that would be an incredible marketing deal. And I hope that's not just out there for fun. But I think that would be really good. Kelsey Plum obviously still doing well for the Las Vegas Aces, and still playing as well as ever. I really enjoyed watching her play as well. And one of my other favorites, of course, if you know Caitlin Clark, you should know Kate Martin, and she's doing really well over there at the moment with her nickname Money Martin. So yeah, that's probably about as far back as I want to go. We've obviously had the All-Star announcemements for those squads, and we know that obviously Angel and Caitlin are rookie first-time players. So I'm looking forward to watching that coming up, and I think that's a pretty good roundup of the news. Hopefully, I'm not talking too fast. Hopefully, I'm not rambling on too much. And hopefully this is palatable and you can enjoy what I've got to say. I will go deeper in depth with analysis and stats in the coming weeks, but I'm still trying to find my feet and go a bit more general to start with before I go deeper, and hopefully some of you guys will be interested in watching along at home. Before I go though, I just want to wrap up the WNBA schedule from today. Leading into tomorrow. I am talking about this in Australian time, so if you're watching this coming up today in the US, this might be a little bit different for you, but today in Australian time, we had on Thursday the 11th of July 4 games, including the Indiana Fever, who lost by 5 points to the Mystics. They ended up being a lot closer than I expected. The Fever were down by quite a bit during the game, but Caitlin really played well again. Of course, we had Chicago beat Atlanta. That was also a close-ish game within a 9-point margin in the end. Angel had 11 points in that one, shot 4 out of 9. And had, I think, 13 rebounds all up. So she's still balling. She's getting those rebounds, and she's really setting the world on fire in that way. We also had the Aces beat the Seattle Storm, and that was also close-ish game, 5 points. I think that's a bit closer suggests that it was probably a bit closer than it actually was, because these tier teams at the moment are not really in the same league, in my opinion. I know that Seattle are only half a game behind because they've played and lost one more game than the Aces. But I think overall, the Aces have the better roster. And Nico Muir, sadly, who Paige Beckers has been supporting, didn't play. But on the Vegas Aces side of things, Kate Martin played again, got up one shot, a steal and 2 assists in a very limited amount of time, in about 6 minutes. Kelsey Plum with 13 points, AJ Wilson with 24. Of course, she's probably going to be the MVP this year, and we'll talk through that another time to look at what criteria I value in an MVP race, what other criteria people tend to value, which I might not agree so much with. And we'll have a look at that during another podcast in the next few weeks. And then sadly, my beloved Dallas Wings still without Satu. Sadly, didn't win today. It wasn't particularly close, 16 points. So I think they are almost definitely going to end up with that first pick in the draft. And really, I'm so excited to have Paige on the same team as a healthy side. Some other quality players that we have, like our rookie JC Sheldon, Enrique obviously had 13 points today. Natasha Howard had 19. I'm very excited for what the future brings, but sadly today the game wasn't particularly exciting. Tomorrow, actually on Prime, from what I can see, we've got the Chicago Sky and the New York Liberty. My guess for that would be the Liberty, of course. But if you want to bet on an underdog, maybe the Chicago Sky might be for you. They're a plus 11 on FanDuel. We also have the Aces and the Atlanta Dream. Again, the Aces there. These are quite, let's say, big favourites. That game's played on Saturday. There's only one game tomorrow, Australia time. And then also on Saturday we have Indiana Phoenix. That could be quite close. I expect that Phoenix would win that one, but Indiana have got quite a good streak going at the moment. I think Caitlin Clark is winning, and that would suggest the same as FanDuel here, with the Mercury being a 2-point favorite. And then Seattle Storm, Minnesota on Saturday, also quite close, with Seattle being a 3-point favorite. I think in that one I would go the Lynx myself, but yeah, look, that might be a nice one to put your money on. So look, I think that'll just about wrap it up. We're at just over 30 minutes here. I hope I've kind of entertained you a little bit today. Hopefully, I'm kind of getting in the rhythm of a new podcast. I don't have a fancy soundboard or any ads or anything at the moment. Obviously starting out, so hopefully you can forgive myself talking at you basically for half an hour, but hopefully with some engagement we can have some polls and some more engagement in coming weeks. Hopefully at some point I'll have some friends jump on the podcast, some other channels, and perhaps we can get some crossovers, maybe some players, and we'll see what the future brings. But that can only happen if you guys give me the love and the support on all your podcasting channels, including YouTube, of course. And I want to thank you for joining in today on this episode of That WNBA Podcast with your host, Jan Frum. I hope you enjoyed and hopefully feel even more connected to the incredible world of the WNBA. Again, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review, a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts when it's out on that platform, or your other favorite podcast platforms. Follow me on social media at That WNBA Podcast, especially on X, formerly known as Twitter. follow me there for the latest updates and to join the conversation with fellow fans. And that will just about wrap it up here. So until next time.